Is X-Men Apocalypse. Cheetah, what do you think?
I didn't hate this movie. I know it had problems. I know there were definitely some bad points to it. Honestly, I've only seen it like once. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, once maybe twice. I did like Magneto's part in this, not as an acolyte, but like the part. The Fassbender's always the highlight of these movies. I'm sorry, he really is. Even if it's a shit movie, the highlight's Fassbender. With him and his I guess second family at this point. I think maybe I don't know. I don't know how many families he's had at this point. But like with him and his daughter, or his wife and his daughter, and then the thing happens, and he just goes ape shit on all of them. Just Fassbender is amazing, and I would not care if they brought him back as Magneto in the MCU, and they're just like, you know what, it's not the same Magneto, but he's Magneto again, so just get over it. And I would get over it very quickly. Um, I thought they did. I mean, I like the actress who played Storm. Um, I like the actress who played Storm. I liked Olivia Munn as Psylocke. I think she was misused in this movie. I liked her look. I liked her. I liked the way that she was in this movie, like her look and everything. I think that she was just written wrong as Psylocke. But I did like the way I did like she was pretty cool and badass. Quicksilver was pretty cool and badass in this movie. The introduction of Cyclops and the death of Havoc were were okay, but I feel like in like every other movie that the Xavier Institute's getting blown up. Like, didn't that
Those summer
happen?
kids can't catch a break, man.
I know. But it also had another great sequence where Quicksilver's saving everybody except Havoc, of course. So I don't know. I mean, the final fight, I know that there was some weird parts to it, but I thought some of the fight scenes between some of the individual X Men and characters was really cool. Archangel being in it, um, meh. So I would give this one a generous Toad Struck by Lightning.
Okay, Zam.
I think this film missed a massive trick, yeah? This could have been the Infinity Wars to a two-part saga. Apocalypse should have fucking won in this movie, in my opinion. Yeah? That's how it should have ended, and then they could have done something else in the second film where they get back. And by not doing that, and they just made it a run-of-the-mill film where they stop the bad guy at the end, and he just feels like every other villain they've had to deal with. So by not doing that, they made this film generic, and that's what pisses me off about this film. There's nothing memorable about this other than the Evan Peters scene, the Quicksilver scene. I did not like the way Magneto was used in this movie at all. You liked Olivia Munn in this. I did not like Olivia Munn in this. Um, I think some of the moments with it, I did like the way that Xavier was like the most important puzzle piece to a degree for Apocalypse, simply because um, he was able to telepathically communicate with the entire planet. That I did like that to a degree, but other than that, I think they really fucked up with this by not making this into a two-part saga, and for that reason alone, I will put this. I was gonna put this in Toad Struck by Lightning, but for that reason alone, I'm so upset that they didn't make this a two-part saga. I'm putting this in I'm the Juggernaut bitch. No, no, sorry, one a bit more like this. Like they had no guts with this film. Like they killed it with fucking the previous movie, Days of Future Past. They were on a crest of a good wave. Go for a two-part saga. I'm a Juggernaut bitch. This is where it goes. All right.
Okay, my turn. Center. Okay, the good things about this. See, before I go to the bad. Okay, Olivia Munn is hot. I don't care. I could be disgusted and just say that she's hot in that famous Psylocke outfit. I thought the actress they got to play Storm was better than Halle Berry. Not that that's a high bar, but definitely better. I thought the bit with Quicksilver was great, really really good. And I disagree with you two about Archangel.
I
I
never
think
said
I,
shit about Archangel. I never said jack shit about him.
no, but what I mean is that I think he was needed because he's supposed to be a part of the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
He was also Angel in X-Men 3 as well. That's supposed to be the same guy, but he was he would be like still in his dad's ball sacks at that period, I think. So
Yeah,
And here's the thing. I the thing about Arcane. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been there. I'm just saying like he was meh. Like I didn't care much about him.
Fair enough.
So
Okay. Right, a rant's coming on. Sorry. Okay. I like Oscar Isaacs. I think he's a really good actor.
Yeah, I agree.
But, and here's a massive but, he's not Apocalypse. Apocalypse has gravitas. He has presence. He's a guy who literally, he's like Darkseid in that he has um, an aura that you can see going from him. He's charismatic. He's somebody like, literally speaks in like, generic sentences, but it's so cool coming from him. He's that sort of villain.
He's Omega level, isn't he? He's an Omega level mutant. I mean, for
Yeah,
fuck's
yeah.
Oh,
He,
yeah.
I mean, they got the power levels just right, but again, when Oscar Isaacs in no like way that could play the gravitas of what he's supposed to be saying, that is bad casting, and that's what ruined the movie. Apocalypse is always under the scene. He doesn't come from the front; he comes from the back. So because he could transform, he could polymorph. That's the word. So he could literally operate the back. Because what usually he does, especially if you watch the cartoons, is that he'll run little gambits, like he'll try and give mutants diseases so that in the future he can win. He'll try and get something because he's immortal that in the future he wins stuff. This is about like what you can do in your role. Or I want to take over Professor Xavier's body. Why? You're the most powerful mutant in the world. You literally could command. I mean, if you remember the last bit of Days of Future Past, we saw him literally creating pyramids with his mind. And this guy needs Professor Xavier to be psychically powerful. Utterly disgraceful. Needs to go. I'm a Juggernaut bitch, and then some. Sorry. Go ahead.
I just had a question. So, what about this scenario? Like at the end of Days of Future Past, what if instead of like Wolverine waking up and it's like at the end of Days of Future Past and he wakes up and it's like this nice like Xavier Institute and everything like that? What if he woke up in the Age of Apocalypse?
Oh yeah.
And then that leads into then X-Men Apocalypse, where then they have to prevent that Age of Apocalypse happening.
But Bob, what happens is that Stryker takes him in Days of Future Past. He takes him from under the water, and that's when he ends up being Weapon X.
No. I meant like when Wolverine wakes up in the modern time in Days of Future Past.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I get you.
He wakes up, and then it's Age of Apocalypse. So then we have to, I don't want to do more time travel shenanigans. But then it's like then you send Bishop, then Bishop goes back, like because Bishop is still alive at that point. I'll edit it out. So then you go back in time, and and Bishop goes back in time instead of them doing like the whole Wolverine, and then they have to prevent Apocalypse, prevent whatever happens with Apocalypse in the 80s or 70s. What time frame was this? 80s, right?
This was the 80s.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you didn't really have any genre flair like. With the previous ones, I know what decade it took place in, which was the 70s, because you had Nixon, it had the fallout from the Kennedy assassination. This didn't really have any sort of, setting of like time and place. So yeah, as I said, this is I'm a Juggernaut bitch. I'm sorry, they wasted Apocalypse.
Yeah, they really wasted this. This is
disgraceful.
This is like the fact that they didn't make it a 2-part film, in my opinion, because you could really expand this sort of story with this character. It's come to think of it, it's really upset me. After what they did with Days of Future Past, to come up with this with Apocalypse and make him just a generic bad guy is really upsetting. Really upsetting.
All right, so where do we sit with this one then, guys?
This is I'm a Juggernaut bitch.
All right, so then I'm outvoted because I just, oops, wrong screen. That's what happens when I work with two screens.
I want to say that I was really anticipating this film. It's like I was, I kind of wary before, but because they did such a great job with Days of Future Past, I was on a hype train for this one. It's fucking Apocalypse, for fuck's sake.
So and Oscar Isaac. I was excited for Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, exactly.
I like him.
I didn't even. I actually even notice him under all that makeup and shit like that. I have to be reminded that he's in there. But the performance he gave was still good. I'm just, They missed a trick with this one. They really did.
Do you? I mean, I feel like they should have. I feel like in this one they should have done like you said, Dark Side. I feel like they should have Dark Sided him. I feel like most of the movie should have been about the Acolytes and the X-Men, and Apocalypse is just kind of looming. And then you're right. It should have gone into the next part, which would have been maybe like an Age of like this
Yeah,
one would have been
that's
X-Men
money
Apocalypse,
right
and the next
there,
one would have
man.
been like Age of Apocalypse or
Yeah,
something.
for
I don't
sure.
know.
They didn't have the balls to do it, man. They, you know what I mean, they have no balls. They do these little setups at the end where they can retcon or whatever and go this way, that way, or whatever fucking way they want. But they haven't really no balls to set up a proper, setup for a sequel, and it's very
By the
annoying.
way, I like Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, and I also like I don't remember his name for Cyclops. I like him. I just still think he was poorly written in this movie, but I
I
still
didn't
like him.
like Cyclops. Sophie Turner. Mm, I'm not sure, man. I'm
Well,
not sure.
Okay,
Anyway.
Zam redheads aren't your thing, so it's
Oh,
I
okay.
love
okay.
redhead. What are you on about, man?
Okay, so the next one, and I'm going to take this, is Logan. Um, Now this is like the old man, old tale of Wolverine. Like the last, I think this was like his last performance, and it was great. I mean, like it's the sort of thing that if it was in a different movie, would be up there for Oscars. Because because Hugh Jackman's always been a great actor, and this like brought that up to 4 points because we see him vulnerable, we see him caring, we see the fact that everybody around him is starting to die, and he's getting very vulnerable himself, and he because I think this whole film is about accepting your role and like you're passing what you have to youngsters. So this is an incredible movie. And the thing is that we can understand, like, him wanting to protect these kids because, like, he remembers what happened when the government took him and what they did to him. He doesn't want that happening to these next bunch of people, so he wants to, like, protect them and stuff like that. I thought this was incredible, and this is a definite good among concepts for me. We'll go to Zam. What do you think?
Two things in this movie. Um, Actually, I'm kind of forgetting the first thing, but I'll mention the second thing, which was that part in the film where he goes with it, he meets that family with that guy who wears Soul Glow and he's from ER. That guy, I'm on about
Eric
from
Lassard.
yeah. He chills with that family, yeah, and that family ends up getting killed by Weapon X. Sorry, by a Weapon 20, so X-24. My bad. um, the young Wolverine. That's been done before. I really didn't like that. I thought this film was doing so well for me until that cliched scene of that family being killed, which they done pretty much the same thing before in the first Wolverine movie when he stayed with that old pet with that old family and they got killed. I thought they were repeating that again. I did not like that. Second thing I didn't like was the adamantium bullet because they had an adamantium bullet in Wolverine as well, the first Wolverine movie, which is what made Logan lose his memory. Yeah. This time the adamantium bullet blows your fucking brains out.
It was a higher caliber.
All right, fair enough. And no, but the cliche with that family being killed by X-24 when they've done that before did not make me happy because I thought that was very lazy. And that itself, for a film which I looked at as a very good movie, to see such a cliche in the film ruined it for me from being a god among insects. This is a school for gifted youngsters. It was a great send off for Wolverine too. In a way, what better enemy than to fight himself, a younger version? I thought to myself, fuck me, old man Wolverine fighting a younger version for himself. That is a very hard enemy for him to beat because the guy's he's indestructible. So anybody he fights, no matter what their powers are, he'll fucking kill him. But a younger version of himself, maybe not. And that alone was a good bad guy. And Mr. Sinister was awful. Richard E. Grant was poorly used. Obviously, he's not going to be some sort of Dracula-looking dude, but still, it was not a good Mr. Sinister. This is a school for gifted youngsters.
What do you think, Tito?
I mean, I like this movie a lot. I think it was, again, I said about it in the Wolverine. I think Logan. I think this is a very good solo Wolverine movie. Old Man Logan. It's a good retirement movie for Hugh Jackman with the character. I'm glad that they ended it in their on their own terms rather than letting it go until just there was no more interest. And I'm glad they went out on a high note. I mean, I know a lot of people who rate this as a top tier X-Men movie. I would put it. I agree with Zam. I would put it at School for Gifted Youngsters. It's not the fact that I didn't like a lot of the movie, and I'm not even saying that it doesn't deserve to be in the top tier. I'm just saying for me, it's definitely not my favorite. I'm not, you know, I'm not big into blood and gore and everything, like the slices and everything like that. Um, but my girlfriend's laughing at me. Um, but but yeah, I mean, as I said, I cannot argue with anyone who puts this top tier. But for me, it is definitely a School for Gifted Youngsters, which is just about like right below top tier.
Okay, School
Um,
for Gifted Johnson.
hmm?
School for Gifted Johnson.
Yeah, one of the good things about this film as well is that it progresses the story again. Like because unfortunately with the X-Men films, they were prequels at the end of the day. Even though Days of the Future Past was kind of starting at a particular period, but this film was again further in time. So it was interesting to see what happened with the X-Men and all of that shit, and the fact that Xavier killed them all, which was a reverse to what happened in the comics with Logan killing them all. So that was a pretty fascinating, and I have to say, it always brings a tear to my eye that such a great man like Xavier didn't get a good ending to his life. Like the way like somebody like Xavier having mental problems is far worse than any other human being having it, and the fact that he was killed by somebody who thought he was his friend was really sad. That was sadder for me than Logan dying, Xavier dying actually. Anyway, I apologize for
Okay,
And that would be his second time dying, might I
yeah,
add.
yeah, but that death hit me a lot harder, man.
okay.
I
You know what I mean?
So with the, I'm trying to remember who did. Yeah, I can remember. Yeah. So with uh, the next Deadpool, the second Deadpool, we'll go with Cousin Cheetah. What do you think of this?
I like this movie. The only thing I think this movie suffered from was having a larger budget, and it gave them uh, a lot more room to have fun. But at the same time, it kind of made it a bit more bulky. I mean, like you had the stupid stuff like Brad Pitt being the Invisible Man, and the X Force that just basically got destroyed as they were parachuting in. And I mean, it was kind of a waste, like a lot of those parts. And I get it; it's Deadpool; it's supposed to be a waste. The whole movie's supposed to be a waste, pretty much. They tried to ground it at certain points in some kind of emotional, and I feel like that's where it fell off for me. Was you've got this kid that's like being tortured and everything like that by these people at this institute or whatever, and he's I don't care really about this kid with the fire powers and burning people. I don't care. I honestly I think that was probably to me that was the weakest point of the story for me. I would have much rather. I mean, the great thing about the first one is that Deadpool and I mean what's her face die in the very beginning or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
Marie
mean
Marie McCarran.
and I mean, I love the parts of like where Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, like Wade Wilson is talking to her and like the spirit, and I actually like those parts. But a lot of the I liked Josh Brolin as Cable. I really liked him as Cable. I just feel like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
this movie was all over the place. I feel like if they would have just focused on Deadpool and Cable and the third like the third party, which would have been the antagonist, you didn't have to get the kid involved. You didn't have to get all like the recruitment for having Domino there was fine. But even if they were just hunting Juggernaut, like I would have liked that movie if they were just like, yeah, we're trying to hunt Juggernaut because he has my Hello Kitty squeaker toy in his back pocket and I want it, and like and then Cable's trying to track down Juggernaut because Juggernaut just is he kills his kids or something in the future or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I, I don't care about this kid. I don't care that he kills the parents or the Cable's family in the future. And now I've got sirens going through my neighborhood. But anyway, so I feel like this movie would have definitely benefited from being scaled down, and I feel like if that's the problem with these, if you give these movies huge budgets, they're gonna aim for the fences, and I don't blame them for aiming for the fence. I just feel like it was to this movie's detriment that they aimed for the fences.
So whereabouts would you put this?
Well, I'm gonna put it at Toad Struck by Lightning. I that's still kind of I can't put it School for Gifted Youngsters because I don't feel like it was better than the first movie at all. I really don't. So if I'm gonna, if I put Deadpool at School for the Gifted Youngsters, I gotta put this one at Toad Struck by Lightning.
Okay, Zaman, what do you think of this?
I just, I'm not as enamored with the Deadpool films as much as everybody else is. I don't mind them. I'm happy to watch them and stuff like that. Some things in this film, like one thing in particular, I don't care about this kid. The fact that there's a kid in a maximum security prison and a kid from New Zealand in an American maximum security prison full of adults and a high level mutant. I found very hard to accept, even for a film like this. I found that really weird. Um, some of the humor, once again, it is where you expect it to be and stuff like that. Him being ripped in half and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a bit weird. I expected this sort of stuff to work on me more, but it doesn't. It's really weird. Like maybe I like my humor to be like there are films which are slapstick in a way, but I do appreciate them. They work on me. But the Deadpool films don't make me laugh as much as it makes other people laugh. I don't know why. It should be. I like to make crude jokes as much as the next person. I don't know why this shit doesn't work on me as much. But nevertheless, I'm gonna put this Toad Struck by Lightning.
Okay, so what I have to say is exactly going to change it, but I wish I could disagree, but I can't. I mean, there's loads of cool stuff like when Juggernaut comes out of that little thing, because like you see that the kid messing around with stuff, and then like he's talking to somebody, you know, who's he talking to? And then all of a sudden, Juggernaut
His whole glory.
in full glory just comes out. It's like yes. I just wish it wasn't CGI. I wish it was like a really like built guy, like some like bodybuilder, like 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger, or like 80s Sylvester Stallone, or like just some huge guy. I'm sure there's actors out there who who have got that physique. But that's my only critique of that little bit. But I love Cable in it. I love Joe, but I love the fact that he's. I love the jokes at the end where he's like going back in time and like he kills himself. He kills Ryan Reynolds when he's reading the Green Lantern. So I love that joke. I love like these days like just don't do this. And I just love the way he just goes back in time and makes these little side jokes about stuff that we all hate. Yeah. Apart from that, I agree with you. I mean, like just compared to the first one, this wasn't as good. And I think a lot of the heart went out of this. I mean, I'm not saying it's cynically made. It's not. There's a lot of passion behind this, but it's not as good as the first one. So for me, I agree with you two. It's got to be Toad Struck by Lightning.
All right.
Next comes the X-Men Dark Phoenix, and with that, we'll go to Zam. What do you think of this?
It took me a long time to watch this film because everyone was shitting on this movie, so I didn't watch it straight away. I let it fester for about a year or so. And like the amount, I never came across one positive review of this movie, so I went into this film thinking I'm going to watch the biggest pile of fucking shit I've ever seen in my entire life. And I think with going into that mindset, I didn't mind it as much as I possibly would have if I went in there with a more positive mindset. And it's a shame, really, because you think of where Days of Future Past is, where it hits such a high, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse with the new class. It's a real shame, and this is not a good high to go out with. Those fucking aliens weren't even Skrulls, for fuck's sake. They could have made them Skrulls. Yeah, I mean that would have been cool.
Yeah, but they weren't supposed. They weren't Skrulls in the comic books either.
Really?
Yeah, they are. They are an actual race in the comic books that I don't know if
Okay,
they were
fair enough.
involved with the Phoenix, but I mean, they're accurate in the comic books. They're just I don't their role in the Dark Phoenix was
I
not the
forgot the
same.
motive of those aliens. What were they after?
They wanted the Phoenix Force.
No, fair enough. Well, yeah, like how she gets it and stuff. At the beginning was pretty cool with them going in space and stuff like that. I have to admit there was some cool moments in there. It was good to see Kurt Wagner back. All these other characters too. Always good to see Evan Peters. Shame that he was benched so soon. That pisses me off. I had no problem with Mystique getting killed early. I totally understand that. Don't like the fact that she's a fucking X-Men. It just doesn't seem right. Um, Nevertheless, this is not the best way to end the saga. It's not the worst film in the world. It's not the. It's far a million miles from the best film in the world. It feels kind of lazy to a degree. And like you look at Fassbender. What's happened to him as Magneto? Like so much greatness when he first got the fucking role, and then it's this. The last couple of films, it's been bullshit.
So
I
where
don't
would
know.
you put this?
I'm really torn. I'm really torn between the top bottom two levels because like I said, I didn't think it was bad as it was, but it is a shit film. All right, you know what? I'm the juggernaut bitch. I'll go with that because it didn't leave a lasting impression. They had a second chance to do the Phoenix right, and they fucked it again. I'm a juggernaut bitch.
Okay, I'll talk about what I think about this. Why is it that they can't even do this properly? I think that is literally, uh, just my just brain explosion of like, again, Sophie Turner, again, I don't mind her. She's a good actress, and obviously, like, I think the thing with Fassbender, he knows that like the writing's gone downhill, and like and at this point, he's just collecting a paycheck. So I think he's just doing that. As I said, I think it's terrible. It is really really bad, because I don't. I mean, in the comics it works, but for some reason in animation it works. It just seems live action is never going to work. So unfortunately, I'm a juggernaut bitch. I'm sorry, Cheeto.
I actually like this movie a little bit more than everybody else. I'm not gonna say it was great. I know there were issues, but this movie felt like an actual X-Men, like an X-Men ensemble movie. It did a lot of things right that X-Men Apocalypse did wrong, I feel. So I definitely feel it's better than X-Men Apocalypse. I like the fact that there was no Wolverine in it, obviously. There, not even a cameo, which is great. I feel like they did the Phoenix way more, and maybe this is because I'm comparing it to X3, but I mean, I felt like they did it. They did the Phoenix a lot more justice. They made it a cosmic entity rather than a suppressed personality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean, I know that it doesn't matter at this point, but I would put it at Toad Struck by Lightning because I did enjoy a lot of parts of this movie. Parts on the train was really cool. I don't know what is up with X-Men and trains. Like trains are in a lot of like bullet trains and stuff like that. They're in a lot of X-Men movies. But the part where they're on that train and they're fighting the alien guys and stuff like that. I mean, watching kind of the X-Men kind of do their thing and not really having like set people who are like above other ones. Like they were a team working together, and even with Magneto in there, and let's be real, Magneto was always an honorary X-Men. Even though Xavier and Magneto were always at each other's throats, Magneto's always an honorary X-Man. So whenever he teams up with them, I always feel like it's just like going back to, him cashing in his honorary X-Men card. So I would put it as Toad Struck by Lightning, but we are going to put it at I'm a Juggernaut bitch just because that's where you guys put it.
Regarding the Phoenix, is like once again they miss a trick. Like they should have been sowing the seeds for the Phoenix in in the previous film, and then they
They
could.
Well, and they did, but it makes no sense. Like that's one of the other problems with Apocalypse is that like she had like the whole remember like at the end when she killed Apocalypse, it was like you could see the Phoenix or whatever.
Yeah, but that's like okay, that's a bit at the end. Like there was no, like the seeds needed to be sowed like to a degree earlier in the film. You know,
Like,
that little
like,
bit.
like 2 or 3 films.
Yeah, but here's the
For-
thing
for-
though. You can't because she acquired it's a cosmic entity. The first time she gets the Phoenix, there was even in the comic books there was no lead
Yeah,
up. It was they were in space,
I know
she
what you
got the
mean, but
Phoenix, they
they could have done.
crashed, she came out
I
of the
know what you
water.
mean. I know what you mean, but like she was destined to go to space to get that entity. Like it was there. It was there, and for her to go into space to get it. And if you just do your writing right, you could make it work. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? And instead they just do one and done movies, man, and been the problem. That's why the MCU is so much better than the X-Men universe, because it's not about one and done films. They're
I will
sowing the
agree with
seeds
you
all the
on that.
fucking time. They sow the seeds all the time with their shit. You know, end credit scenes and stuff like that, which mean something, genuinely mean something, not some stupid snippet where they come up with another one and done. Fucking stupid.
Okay, so we have one last movie, which is the New Mutants. Because I haven't seen this one, I'll let you take it.
I mean, I've seen pretty much most of this movie. I haven't watched it in its entirety, but I mean, I like the horror aspect that they were going for. I like the fact that they were trying to do something different again. They were taking a swing. They were going for the New Mutants. They were they were being pretty comic book accurate from what I didn't read the New Mutants or this version of the New Mutants growing up, but they definitely did I feel like they did some of the characters justice in what I've seen. Um and I get it, like they feel like some of it fizzled out, but honestly it's the first movie in what was supposed to be a trilogy before Disney bought it. So as a standalone movie, again, this is another one I would put at Toad Struck by Lightning, only because it was introducing new characters and they took a swing for a different genre. There's not been a horror, movie. It's like a Resident Evil style where they're kind of trapped in this mansion and there's all these creepy weird things going on, and I can respect the attempt that they were making. And honestly, there were some decent actors in there.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is there any characters from the X-Men films, actors that are in New Mutants,
I don't think so.
even as a cameo?
I don't believe so.
And that was one of
There
the
is a
problems.
mention about a
Yeah, a
school.
mention. Yeah, of course there is a mention. Yeah, that don't mean shit, because that's the thing about this film. Not one part of it prior to watch it, but I haven't seen this film, and I don't plan to anytime soon. But from some of the reviews I read, that pretty much nothing happens until the end, which is unfortunate. And secondly, like nothing about the film makes me feel that it's remotely connected to the previous movies. Nothing. You know what I mean? And so for that reason alone, I never bothered wanting to see it. As far as I'm concerned, if I never see this film, I don't think I'll be missing anything when it comes to the continuity and shit. If they made films after this,
But here's the thing, though. You can't, like, okay, they're trying to start their own thing. Like that's like basic. Like, I mean, you can't can that's like trying to connect, like Thor to the
okay,
Avengers,
no,
like before
I
the Avengers were a thing. It's
I
like,
give you that. I give you that. But this is kind of stopped before it got even started, because now Disney owns the rights.
yeah.
So it's just like, what's the point?
And you're
You
right.
know?
What is the point? I understand, but at the same time, I feel like as a standalone movie, I feel like this was a good attempt. I get it. I mean, the reviews weren't all that great. I feel like if the Fox universe was still going on, this might have gotten better reviews. But everybody's like, hey, who cares? It's over.
No, but look, I said to you earlier that what some of the things people are saying, that it feels like a Netflix movie, not like a big budget Marvel film. Like, would you agree?
No,
No.
I could see this being a part one of like a starting of a new franchise, like new section of a franchise. I mean, look at Doctor
This,
Strange.
this film
Doc,
would be in the cinema. You're saying?
yeah, this one should be in the look at Doctor Strange. I mean, okay, he's really been well established in Infinity War and Endgame. But I mean, the first Doctor Strange movie, if you kind of watch Doctor Strange, the first one, I kind of, it's kind of a low scale type. It feels like a low scale movie.
And
Well, the only thing about it that I
there's some amazing
remember is
special
that
effects.
sorry, the only thing I
So
remember about it is Anna Taylor Joy, or what her name is, just do what she does. And again, like that's fine. But like I said, there's nothing about that trailer that necessarily drew me into going to watch it. And when you're presented a trailer, it should be something that once I present it to you, you go, I will watch that. And nothing about that particular trailer got me. I mean, if the film's not represented by the trailer, but sometimes a good film could have a shitty trailer. I've seen
Okay.
that enough.
Gary, you seen the film 1917? Yeah,
I have, yeah.
yeah. Like when people, that film never took my interest, but everyone was raving about it. All right, I'll watch it, and then now I know why people are raving about it. It's fucking brilliant. It is a fucking brilliant movie. I recommend watching that. By the way, Bobby, I really do. It's a genius bit of filmmaking. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's a one shot movie. Yeah, the whole film is one shot. It's very cleverly edited, so they're very smart with the editing, where they obviously do the cuts, but it looks like it's all done in one take, which is genius. It's very engaging like that, you know. But that's another story. Um, but yeah, regarding New Mutants, I'm gonna, even though I haven't seen it, I'm gonna put it in under Juggernaut bitch because I have no desire to see it.
And I'm going to put it until drop my lighting because I might see it, but it might be better than the trailers portray it as.
All right,
Sorry.
so guys, there we have it. We've got our A God Amongst Insects tier, which is X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past. School for the Gifted Youngsters, which is X-Men, X2, The Wolverine, Deadpool, and Logan. Toad Struck by Lightning, which is X-Men Origins Wolverine, Deadpool 2, and The New Mutants. And I'm the Juggernaut bitch tier at the bottom, which is X3 The Last Stand, X-Men Apocalypse, and X-Men Dark Phoenix. How do you guys feel about our list?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
that's
when you see
pretty right.
X-Men Apocalypse there, it breaks my heart. I mean, when you think of X-Men Apocalypse, yeah, like we're talking top tier Big Daddy. This is Thanos level, and to see it in I'm a Juggernaut bitch, it's heartbreaking, but it belongs there because I'm not biased. You know what I mean?
That's
So,
it.
thank you, everybody, and hopefully you enjoyed this list, and maybe you put your own list in the comments. Like and subscribe, check us out. We've got a lot more tier lists coming, and also we've got a tier list of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe down below, so please check that out. See you later.
And you know, the villain of that movie is Apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.